Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by thanking my colleague for her steadfast leadership on this issue, but really on all issues having to do with foreign relations in this chamber for so many years. She has set the example and a very high bar for all of us who serve in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by reiterating just how serious a security threat Iran is to the United States and to our allies. As my colleagues have expressed here, Iran can never attain nuclear capabilities. Any deal reached must ensure that the Iranian regime completely abandons its nuclear ambitions and dismantles its nuclear infrastructure. It is absolutely critical that the Obama administration be unyielding when dealing with Iran. Additional concessions are simply not an option. A weak deal that gives a regime an opening to obtain nuclear weapons down the road is not good for the United States or its allies, especially Israel. It isn't good for the entire world. Even while nuclear negotiations between the P5+1 and Iran took place, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei openly supported the destruction of Israel and supported Hamas's attacks against Israel from Gaza. He also boasted Iranian technology was being used by Hamas to attack Israel and openly all Palestinians in the West Bank to join Hamas in Gaza in an armed rebellion against Israel, promising to arm those who participated. We cannot continue to view Iran's nuclear program as existing in a vacuum. It would be responsible to ignore the regime's continued support for terrorism, its pursuit of ballistic missiles, and its failure to comply with the International Atomic Energy Agency. Moving forward, several things must be present in an unacceptable deal, including a robust inspection regime and the resolution of issues of past and present concern. Only then could a deal even begin to be considered as acceptable. Snapback sanctions relief could be difficult to implement and is not in the best interest of the United States. We must protect the sanctions infrastructure that this body put in place rather than rely on reactive tactics if the Iranian regime does not comply with the terms of the agreement. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to an agreement with Iran, we need to ask ourselves, does this agreement prevent Iran from achieving nuclear capabilities and keep the United States and its allies safe? Anything other than that is totally unacceptable. And the central question here, Mr. Speaker, is what kind of a world do we want to live in? What kind of a world do we want for our children, for our grandchildren, for our families? A world in which the most radical terrorist regime acquires nuclear weapons, whether it's in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, or 15 years, is totally unacceptable. This is a government that, again, has pledged to annihilate the only democracy in the Middle East, our best ally in the world, the country that stands with us no matter what, our friends in Israel. Some in this administration have unjustly criticized Prime Minister Netanyahu for what? For simply wanting his country to survive and his people to live in peace